Us this evening, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to attend. We are less than 2 weeks away from our event weekend experience, and we are so excited to share some important safety information with you today to help you prepare for the best possible ride weekend experience. The safety of our cyclists is our #1 priority at Bike MS, which is why we made Think Safe our motto. Bike MS is for everyone, which means there is a great mix of riders with different experience and skill levels on the road together at every Bike MS event. So we must do our part to be mindful and then be visible as well as being predictable. Now let's get this show started. First, I just want to go through a little bit of housekeeping on our teams. For those of you who are not familiar with the platform, we do have a chat function. It's just a cartoon bubble, so you're welcome to pop any questions in during the meeting. We'll be answering them throughout. We also do have a camera function and a mute button. We do ask that people do stay on mute during the call, just so it's a little bit easier for everybody to hear. And we're going to get started. So I'm just popping up the agenda quick. And, as part of the Bike MS experience, our goal is to create the safest experience for everyone possible, because when everybody stays safe, we all have an amazing time. So first up, I want to introduce everybody who is on the call this evening. So my name is Rachel Oster. I'm the director for Bike MS. I've got Jesse Ryson joining me, the senior manager for Bike MS, and Pete Starts from the Bike MS team. He's one of our managers. Andy White is our lead production technician from Trek New York, and JT McGinnish is the VP of Blue Palette Events. We also have another special guest from Trek, who I apologize is not on the slide, but Andrew is also joining us from Trek and will also probably have some amazing insight for us. So now to kick it off, I'm handing it over to Jesse.
Thanks, Rachel, and thank you for everybody for joining on this wet afternoon. I'm going to talk about everybody's personal favorite subject, personal responsibility. It is important that each and every cyclist set a good example from the time you arrive at the location to the time that you cross the finish line by following all the rules of the road and respecting all the communities that we ride through on this event. And of course, being respectful and courteous to your fellow cyclists and volunteers. Bike MS provides you with the necessary tools to educate all Bike MS New York cyclists on proper training and ride etiquette, but it is up to you to become a responsible cyclist. So we need you to do your part to ensure everyone arrives safely at the finish line and has an incredible experience. Please review the safety information about personal safety, group riding skills, cycling etiquette, and bike maintenance before you get going. We want you to be safe, be courteous, and be responsible. Now, there are some safe bicycling basics you want to know and use your verbal signals while on the route. It helps you keep yourself and others safe. I usually say, when in doubt, shout it out. It rhymes. Bike MS rides do not allow headphone use while on the route, since they prevent you from hearing other cyclists, potential instructions from support vehicles, and the like. So leave the podcasts at home for this one. Now, some good group riding basics and signaling skills. I'm sure you're all using these on your training rides, but you want to know how to use your hand signals. Bike MS New York City has a lot of great sites along the route. I'm sure you're going to want to pull over, take photos with your group, but remember to be cognizant of your surroundings while stopping. So I know everyone's familiar with these ones, but I'm going to do them anyway, and you can follow along at home if you like, because they are my favorite thing to do on a bike. You're going to be slowing, left turn, right turn alternative, and that's going to look reversed because you'd be following me. Please maintain a minimum speed of 10 to 12 miles per hour throughout the course. That's a comfortable speed, but it is going to ensure that you're all moving together and having a great ride. Of course, we want to talk about our helmet. You want to ensure that you have a proper helmet fit, whether you're a veteran rider or new to the ride. Protect your dome is the 運thing that you want to keep in mind. Helmets are required for all Bike MS events. If you rented a bike from Unlimited Unlimited Biking, a helmet will be provided as part of that rental, and you are expected to use it. Now that wraps up my fun and safety portion. I'm going to hand it over to Andy White, the lead production technician from Trek New York, to go through some pre-ride checklist items to get you road ready. Andy, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening. So some quick reminders on what to check for safety prior to starting your ride. We'll want to check the air tire and pressure in the tires. Those will be listed and printed on the sidewall of the tire. So a quick check there will help us understand what to inflate the tires to. Properly inflated tires will help provide a safe ride, a more comfortable ride, and prevent flats. Next, we'll want to make sure our brakes are functioning. Stopping is a very important aspect here. So give the brakes a squeeze, make sure they're contacting the rims or the disc brake rotors. Spin the wheel, make sure it's spinning freely through the brakes, not rubbing or slowing you down inadvertently. It's always a good idea to spin the cranks, make sure that the chain is moving freely through the gears. And then we'll want to check our quick releases on our wheels to make sure that they are tightened and in place, that the wheel is properly seated inside the bicycle. And then finally, a quick test ride for shifting and braking functionality is our safety check prior to starting the ride. That's what I have for a bike check.
Jumping in just to add on what Andy was saying, but this is where, considering that we have some time before we actually see our event on the 23rd, this is where I'll encourage everyone, do the checks yourself. And if ever in doubt, please stop by a nearby shop, Trek or not. And that way you can just have a seasoned technician or professional look it over, kind of like visiting the doctor, better to know if you are expecting some complication versus experiencing it on the road. Preventative is definitely going to be the best course of action here.
Any other tips that you guys have, please feel free to jump in with them. So I am gonna start on our ride day support. We are working hard to keep you safe, safe, and also while creating you a top-notch experience. So we have a couple changes this year, and then also for anybody that's new, this is probably the first time you're hearing it, but the entrance to the start line will be at 51st Street this year, and the start arch will be at Pier 84 on 43rd Street. We have adjusted the position of our customer service tent to be at Pier 84 for easier access, and then we have the bike repair areas, which are provided by Trek, will each be at the breakfast trucks in the chute, and the breakfast trucks, and there will also be portos available throughout the chute area for easy access once you get in there. If you are planning on driving in, please use the parking garages south of 43rd Street, since there will be street closures along the whole side of the chute for support vehicles. So you will have limited access to certain streets, so just please be mindful if you're booking a parking garage in advance. The chute will open for riders at 6 p.m. with an approximate 7 p.m. start, but like all things with our event, there are some contingencies, so the NYPD does dictate when we go, so these are approximate timeframes. Breakfast at the Sunday start line will be limited. We will have water bottles, sports drinks, breakfast bars, and bananas will be available on the vehicles in the start line chute on the West Side Highway. Please arrive with a full stomach and full water bottle and be road ready. Elite 150 Club members and elite teams will enjoy a hot breakfast and coffee served by Bear Burger in Pier 84 starting at 6 a.m. Just show your credentials to access that pier. We will also have fully stocked rest stops. In the past, our examples of some of our snacks we have available there are gels, pickle juice, fruit, bars. We both have granola and power bars usually. Sports drinks and chips. We do have gluten-free options available, but they just ask for them because we do try to make sure that we have them for those that need them, but we will be having those throughout the course. Lunch will be provided by Bear Burger, which will have a variety of beef burgers with and without cheese, chicken burgers, veggie burgers that are black bean based, with a variety of toppings and pre-packaged size. All lunches will be pre-boxed by Bear Burger, and lunch is available for all participants, but we will have a special VIP lunch line for our Elite 150 top fundraisers, super and elite team members. In addition to lunch, we will also have a grab and go station where you can grab bottled water and single serve packaged snacks, similar to what we have as options at the rest stops. And if you're over 21 and you would like to enjoy an adult beverage after the ride, we will have a craft beer garden available with beer tickets for you to purchase on site for ride day. We will have a VIP beer line for those top folks, the top fundraisers, Elite 150 and Super and Elite team members. Our top fundraisers and Elite 150 Club will also enjoy a beer on us. So it's one of the amazing, great perks about being part of those clubs. And now I'm going to hand it over to JT to walk us through some of the route and support vehicle area sections.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rachel. Alrighty, so as Rachel said, outstanding support every mile of the way. So whether you're on the 30-mile route, which is traffic free, or the 50, which we'll get into in a second, we want you not to worry about getting lost at all. Once you're in that start line chute, that kind of starts the support, and you're supported every step of the way. All we need you to do is pedal, stay safe, and have fun. We'll have support vehicles in the front of the pack, in the back of the pack, lots of marshals to keep everybody safe. So really concentrate on having fun, being safe, following the cyclist in front of you, and enjoy amazing views on this 30-mile route, which is traffic free. Freedom Tower, you're going to go through the Battery Park Tunnel, lots of bridges, Brooklyn Bridge, things like that. It's taking you all around the perimeter of Manhattan on, again, closed streets on the highways, a ride you can't do without getting arrested unless you were on the Bike Mess ride. So very, very lucky that we're able to close down the West Side Highway and the FDR. 30-mile route will have one rest stop at Inwood Hill Park at mile 19.1. You're going to be held there briefly. We'll go through timing a little bit in the next slide, but you're going to be held there briefly, which lets NYPD reform a bubble closure on the other side of Manhattan to get us back to Pier 84. But we will have timing and information for you. All the times are dictated by NYPD, so times are approximate, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit later. But we will have a ton of snacks and porta potties, mechanical support from Trek, which we're very thankful for, while you're hanging out at Inwood Hill Park, which is a really awesome space and is also sponsored by Point B. Route maps, cue sheets, ride with GPS links will all be available on the website right now if you go check them out. And we'll also have some QR codes and stuff on site. Also, if you can't push another pedal at all, don't worry about that. Our SAG vehicles are there to help. We have vans and trucks that'll transport you and your vehicles throughout the way. Here is our new 50-mile route, which we're very, very excited for. One big piece of feedback we had last year with just the 30-mile ride was that everybody wanted to ride around that perimeter of Manhattan on closed streets. So what we did for this year is make a really fun new route rather than going through the tunnel like we have done historically. You'll ride the entirety of that 30-mile route with the 30-mile folks. If you're on the 50, you'll stop at Inwood Hill Park for a rest stop. And then what you're going to do is get back on the highway, take exit 14 just like you're a car, and you're going to head around a couple streets in Manhattan, again, closed streets, and we're going to put you on the path of the George Washington Bridge. From there, we'll spend a lot of our time in Palisades Interstate Park. There'll be 2 rest stops in the park and 1 outside of the park, so 3 additional rest stops on the 50-mile route. And again, we'll have, route maps and cue sheets and GPS links and things like that as well. In terms of the split, around 8:45 a.m., 50-mile riders will be released from Inwood Hill Park. We're going to have everybody in who's riding the 50 at 9:05 a.m. Ready to go. If you're at Inwood Hill after that, you're going to have to go on to the 30-mile route. We expect that our last first riders will hit Cabrini, which is where the bridge path enters, around 9:20 a.m. And that's when NYPD Highways Division will kind of switch like a railroad track over, open up that 30-mile route, and we'll release folks there. So we're super duper excited about that 50. We have a ton of support there from folks recorralling people at Inwood Hill Park to a ton of staff getting people onto the bridge safely. I know you've probably ridden the bridge on a lot of your training rides and you're thinking, oh gosh, are you guys crazy? It's really thin getting on there. We have a whole plan for that. Tons of people to get everyone there and not get junked up onto the bridge. So we're very excited about that. And then last but not least, this is the Inwood Park rest stop. As a reminder, this is the only stop, rest stop 1 on the 30-mile route and rest stop 1 of 4 on the 50-mile route. You will be stopped here. We'll have a ton of folks here, a ton of PD here that will stop everybody. We'll get a snack, take a little bathroom break, see Trek. Ideally, you're just saying hey to them and asking about cool new bikes, not getting your bike fixed. Everything's going to be fine, but they are there to support if needed. But we'll split cyclists here. 50 will go first, and then the 30 will go. And we're super excited. This is a great spot and a great route, and we hope you guys love it. With that, some other stuff I hope
Oh.
you love. I
I've got you some
didn't
close-up
see this one.
maps. Got you some close-ups.
Close-up maps here. So forgot about this piece. In this first one is the kind of on and off the George Washington Bridge. So again, the 50-mile route will go down Henry Hudson Parkway, take exit 14 just like you're a car, tick through the streets a little bit because it's kind of a bunch of turns to actually get onto the path. Again, we're not on the roadway, we're on the path. We'll have a ton of staff getting people there, and we have the timing and metering from Inwood to make sure that the whole pack is not getting there at the same time. So you're not going to be waiting again. You'll get over the GWB, and then on the other side, on the New Jersey side, we'll have Fort Lee Police helping us get off and then turning onto River Road / Main Street to get into Palisades Interstate Park.
Okay, awesome. Definitely sounds like an exciting day. And I'm going to pass it back over to Pete to walk us through some of the things that are going to be at the finish line. Pete?
Hi,
I think
let me try that again, naturally. So this year we're back at the start finish at Pier 84, as I just said. Naturally, you all heard me. We've rented the upper deck of the Circle Line parking garage for bike parking, and you will be directed to your bike. You were directed to park your bike in either the VIP parking or in the general parking when you arrive back at the pier. Bear Burger will be serving both our elite breakfast and lunch. We have also made a few enhances this year that include increasing the size of our beer garden and adding a post-event VIP area next to the beer garden. We'll also be moving our general seating area slightly away from the DJ, so you'll be able to spend a little more time and enjoy talking to your friends and family and to rehash the day without trying to fight with the DJ. We also have massage tables available from Swedish Massage Institute for our VIPs who are elite 150s and top fundraisers. Now, sometimes we know emergencies do happen, so here's the information that you'll need to get help as quickly as possible. Essentially, these are the steps that you'll need to take in order to get help in the event of emergency. The number one step, as always, is to call 911. Sorry, my cat's in the way. Call 911 and tell them your location, and then remain on the phone with them until help arrives. After that, you can call the phone number for Bike MS Medical on your wristband as well. Beyond that, safety always starts, but even before we get on the road, you've already taken the first steps by joining this call today. So here's a couple more things that you will need to know prior to our ride this weekend. So starting with our packing list, we do have a number of mandatory items that you need to participate in Bike MS New York City. So please make sure to bring with you your bike helmet, your rider bib, your bike number, your wristband, and your ID. We've also included some other suggestions and recommendations for consideration that you want to take a look at, especially as we get closer to the ride, you'll have a better idea of what the weather is for your needs on ride day. Moving right along, we do have a number of unique set of bag restrictions as part of New York City's counterterrorism measures. The NYPD will be enforcing these measures on ride morning. So for a full list of bag restrictions, please visit our website under the registration and bag restrictions area. We can tell you that the only approved bags do include saddlebags, frame bags, handlebar bags, fanny packs, and uncovered baskets. So things like large backpacks and hydration backpacks are definitely not allowed on ride day. And lastly, our packet pickup information. It's really important. Probably one of the most important things that we have for you to get to do the ride is everything in your packet. So all of our cyclists must meet the $250 fundraising minimum before receiving your rider packet. Some of you might have already received it in the mail if you've already hit $250 fundraising minimum. If you haven't gotten there yet, please encourage your donors to donate online. You can even bring donations to packet pickup if you haven't gotten there yet. If you did not receive or qualify to have your packet mailed, you will need to attend packet pickup. Our ride weekend packet pickup will take place at the Courtyard Marriott, New York, Manhattan, Midtown West on Friday, October 21st from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Saturday, October 22nd from noon to 4 p.m. Our online registration will close at 4 p.m. on Saturday, October 22nd, and our packets will not be available for pickup on ride morning. So inside the packet, there are 4 items that are mandatory for your Bike MS ride weekend. The number 1 is the bib number, and that will assist with identification on the route. Please safety pin your bib on the back of your outermost layer of clothing while on the route and at the start and finish areas. Safety pins are in your packet, and make sure you fill out the emergency contact information on the inside of your bib. Second is your bike plate. Your bike plate must be fastened to your front handlebars with the route you want to ride facing out. They are double-sided. One side says 30, the other side says 50. Twist ties will be included in your bike packet. Our admission ribbons are also in the packet, and you can wear them to show who you are riding for. These are provided by our mission sponsor, Evernorth. And lastly, your event wristband. This is required to wear the wristband all weekend. The wristband identifies you as a Bike MS participant and grants you access to the food, beverages, and Bike MS services. And lastly, I just want to take a moment to thank all our sponsors, our local presenting sponsor, AM Trust Financial, our gold level sponsors, Bear Burger, Oz Moving, Point B, Evernorth, and Trek, and our national sponsors as well, Left Hand and Primal. So we know we just went through a lot of information. So if anybody has questions right now, you want to come back on camera, we're happy to chat and answer anything you guys might have that is top of mind right now.
I have a quick question. For picking up the information that we need for the ride, can we have one team member pick up for multiple people, or does each individual person have to come and get it?
So you are able to pick up for multiple team members, and you can send one delegate from the team. We just ask that you provide a list of who you're picking up for, and then also potentially if they can let us know that you're picking up on their behalf. They do have to have their waiver completed, which was done as part of the registration process if they register online, and they have to have reached up the fundraising minimum.
Okay, thank you. And then how would they be able to let you guys know that someone is picking it up for them?
You can email any of us and we're happy to do that, or you can show us an email on your phone saying that they're picking up like for you, or a text message or something of that nature.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I see that we have a hand raised too.
Oh, I think that was me. Sorry, guys.
Oh, okay. Hi, Mark.
Rachel. Have the packets been mailed already?
Yes, they have. So full disclosure, I'm going to be transparent. We had a little hiccup with our bike plates, and we had to change out all 3,000 bike plates manually. So all the packets went on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Don't worry, it's en route.
Okay.
Bit of an adventure of a week. But the good news is now all the correct plates are in there and everybody is situated, and I'm sure that they will arrive soon, and they're just coming via the United States Postal Service.
Great.
I don't know if Andy or Andrew, do you have any other tips that you would like to give people that we didn't include in the presentation? Not to put you on the spot, but if there was anything else that you were thinking that maybe we didn't mention?
Yeah, so jumping in quickly, this is where I guess just overall kind of ride strategy to make sure that you can have a fun time and really focus on that ride. First things first, I would talk about clothing and weather. Depending on what the forecast is going to be, really the best strategy you can do is work in layers, similar to as if you were going for a run. Anything with a front zip, for example, is usually going to be working in your favor. Something you can zip up if you're feeling a little chilly. Definitely something that you want to unzip and get some airflow working through if you start to heat up. This is where, as a general rule of thumb, if you start the ride off a little chilly, it's usually a good thing, versus if you are already warm at the beginning, you'll tend to overheat as that ride progresses. So again, just please keep that in mind. Outside of that, this is where we would talk about hydration and nutrition. really this is where you want to make sure that you are constantly feeling your body as you progress through the ride. So again, even from personal strategies, sometimes I will set a timer, whether it be on my phone or if you have a bike computer, and really use that as a reminder to tell you to reach down for your bottle and take a drink, or snack on a bar that you may have with you, outside of really just making sure that you do visit each of the rest stops to kind of replenish yourself. If you're already feeling thirsty, if you're already feeling hungry, chances are it's usually too late, and it's pretty tough to play catch up at that point as you progress through the ride. So again, just being conscious of that strategy. Outside of that, this is where riding in a group does come with the territory of communication, right? If you are a seasoned rider who have done this quite a bit, or if you are new to riding in a group, through some of the sections of the city, we will be in pretty close proximity with one another. And that's where, as riders, we each have the responsibility and accountability of just signaling to those people around us. Whether you're experiencing some sort of mechanical need to pull over, it's always good to verbally acknowledge that to the riders around you, making sure that you do look over your shoulder before you kind of pull off your line. It's really great, just as a general rule of thumb, to stay predictable, right? Even if you happen to see something fall in front of you, whether it is a bottle off of somebody's bike or just some sort of street furniture, again, generally speaking, you want to make a pretty gradual move if you're changing lines versus doing something abruptly. And it's always good to just call that out. Even if you're not familiar or an expert with hand signals, again, just verbal communication is going to be key here. So making sure that on the road, we are looking out for one another.
Definitely good, solid tips. Yes, John, that is a very good tip. The loose clubs and the toe covers. Yep, those are good, solid tips. Yeah, no, I mean, we do, one other thing to be cognizant about is we do shut down the highways and we do make sure it's a traffic-free experience and eliminate the risk of the cars in Manhattan. However, like all roads in Manhattan, we're not able to control things like potholes and grates all the time. So please be cognizant of, when you are on the road, because we all know how fantastic sometimes the highways are. So. Okay, do we have any other questions? You can also ask us anything about the ride at all, so. I think that kind of wraps it up for questions, unless anybody else has any tips they want to share. How many riders? Currently we have about 1,850 registered. We do expect that number to climb. We do expect our total registration to top out between 2,000 and 2,100. But I suspect that on the road for ride day will be between 1,700 and 1,800. The majority of that will be on the 30 mile, but that's just, par for the course. Yes, of course your friends can join you at the finish line. We encourage it. There's plenty to do, plenty to hang out, lots of good little spaces. You can hang out and have lunch. You can all go in the, the beer garden. There's going to be amazing vendor tents from our partners like Trek and some of our other sponsors. So there'll definitely be stuff to do. I would say if you do have friends meeting you and they're coming off the 30, to try to be there by 9:30, because we do anticipate those 30-mile riders about at 9:45. We also will have a really cool experience. We do have a Brazilian drum corps that drums everybody in, as well as the NYU cheerleading squad. So it is really cool, really great energy. But just to give about the timing. So that's about the timing on the 30 mile. And then we're expecting more of the 50 miles to start to kind of roll in between that 11:30 and noon mark. I think you popped in for bike rentals. Is there anything to be mindful of? So I would say if you are picking up a bike rental, make sure you give yourself a little bit of extra time. They will be available at Pier 84 right now. We do know about 300 people have rented bikes. So, just be cognizant of that when you are picking up. I would also recommend, the same safety checks that Andy discussed. You still want to do those with your your bike rental. Make sure your seat is in the right position. Or do you, Andy, do you have any tips for somebody that's picking up a bike that they're not familiar with that possibly they should do a little ABC check?
Yeah, so sticking to that ABC check is really going to be your like foundation, right? Whether it is a bike that you ride all the time, a bike that you transport where oftentimes wheels can come off, and making sure that it's reassembled together, or picking up that rental. If you are picking up the rental, I would lean on that team if possible to help set it up even down to appropriate seat height so things can be comfortable. That being said, if you're on the start line and it is your first time on that rental, don't be shy and approach one of the Trek mechanics and ask for help. Something that we can do pretty quickly and just help outfit it to the best of the equipment as possibility. This is where I would say, as a rider or as a person taking a rental, make sure that you can, if possible, have some equipment with you. So even down to having that spare tube. You know, even as a rider, if I didn't have the ability to change a flat myself, having the equipment definitely empowers somebody else on the road, whether it's us, one of the SAG wagons, or another rider to help out, just because equipment won't necessarily be transferable across all types of bikes based on compatibility. And again, this is where, you know, we are going to be stationed throughout every single rest area. And I will invite every single rider to ask for help at any point in time, right? Even if it's down to small adjustments between Inwood and then the next rest stop. If you are doing the 50, come on by the truck tent and we'll be more than happy to help sort it out with you.
And one thing about the bike rentals, they do come with bags. They usually are the front handlebar bags that they do come with, and they do include a helmet. One thing that I will also suggest, if you're not used to riding with the pedal cups for your shoes, they please speak up, and you can have them take those off for you or make an adjustment. Just because if it's just not something you're comfortable with, make sure you speak up. It's got to be a good experience for you. I think we had a couple other questions kind of come through. But all the 30 and 50s will start at the same time at 7 a.m. So the total length of the shoot is approximately about 8 to 9 blocks long. So it will be a pretty long stretch once we start moving those riders. So the goal is to start by 7 a.m. There can be slight fluctuations in that time, but we won't leave before 7 a.m. How long does 30 take? Yep. Okay. So Jesse, you've already answered the question on the timing of the 30. Yeah. So we're anticipating, just to kind of give an idea of how long it takes to get to that rest stop, probably between about 8:20 and 8:30, arriving at the rest stop from a 7 a.m. start. And then after the hold, we're expecting an approximate 9:45 arrival. So you will have a little bit of a break just because we will have to release in 2 waves, but don't worry, there's plenty of snacks, porta potties, and things to kind of check out while you're up there. Hi, Anthony, I see you joining us up on screen. Do you have a question? No questions. Yep, Jesse's about right on that speed pacing.
There's going to be a lot. I think you really want to bake in just how much you're going to want to pull over and take photos, and especially if you're riding with people, especially if you think, oh, I usually ride pretty fast. This is a pretty special ride, so add some time to enjoy it.
Yeah, there's a lot of spots that people like to particularly stop underneath the Brooklyn Bridge. People like to take pictures there, usually by the little red lighthouse up coming out of Inwood. I say this daringly, if you are a Yankees fan, you have a great view of Yankee Stadium. Sorry, we are not far enough out for Citi Field. But, so there are some just really cool views along the way. And, just to be said, like, the sun does rise a little bit later in the morning. So, you're really going to be coming around that island when the sun is rising and just hopefully getting some like amazing views with no clouds and sun and no rain. So that's always my fingers crossed and goal.
Did we answer the question if the rental comes with a saddlebag already? We might have done that while I was typing. The rentals do come with a saddlebag.
Usually their bags are the ones that are the front handlebars. They don't typically do the frame bags or anything, but they usually are a zipped bag. The only thing I can't guarantee, because some of their bikes are set up differently, usually the bag can hold a bottle of water, but there's not always the the water bottle holders on the bike frame. So just something to be cognizant. There will be probably a place for you to have your water bottle. But you know, fanny packs are always great options if you have to have something to have on you. That's how I keep all of my supplies with me on ride day. And I am not riding a bike. Any other helpful tips anyone would like to share or questions they might have? Yes, like gloves are always a good thing. Yeah, because it will be chilly. It will be dark when you come on site. So no, just be cognizant, especially getting on those side streets, you know, of other riders and just, you know, being careful. So.
Layers, layers, layers. For sure.
Yes, this is definitely a layer ride. Okay, I think we've. Any recommended parking areas for commuters? Is there badge check? In terms of parking for commuters, just to clarify, is that so you can definitely there are definitely so being a Sunday, there tend to be a little bit more street parking available than midweek. So you can usually people can find street parking. We do also recommend taking parking garages below 43rd Street. Just because those side roads on the edge of the chute are going to be closed for our support vehicles. So if you do pick one that's like right on the chute, you are not going to be able to get to it by a car. They will be closed off. Also, you know, if you are planning on commuting in on a train or some sort of mass transportation, it's best to check their website on whether or not they will allow you to bring a bike on the train or subway. One more question I just blanked on. There is bag check. However, the bag check is for our Elite 150 and Elite teams. That is on the credential if you do have it. I don't believe the rental company will watch shoes, but if you do have a friend or something that's staying with you, they could probably grab a bag. Unfortunately, they don't usually watch other people's things. Any other questions? Oh, these are all good questions. So we are excited to see everybody on Ride Day. So if we are wrapped up for all the questions, we will be sending this recording out. We will also be sending out the deck that both will be available on the website. So if you did think that this would be helpful for other members of your team, please send it over to them for a listen. You're also always welcome to reach out to us or fundraising support for direct questions. But I would just like to thank everybody that had joined us this evening. Thank you to the team from Trek for joining us, as well as GT for coming in and helping us out this evening with additional logistics questions. And I hope everybody has a good night. And I am going to have us sign off.
Thank you.